And Are You Okay is a not safe for work podcast, so any young listeners are discouraged from continuing. However, we literally have no way to track that, so do whatever the hell you want and enjoy the show.
Edit point. There we go. Gotcha.
Happy hands. That's how we do it. I really don't think that people who exist outside of like this like massive content creation machine, they don't realize that like life is just a series of Matt clapping you into things. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I operate. Like I would imagine, like in my work meetings, there's a visual picture of you going, for me to know when to speak.
You know where I got that from? Like why I started doing that? Have I ever told you like the lore behind that? No. So when we used to do the Ether podcast, shout out to Troto Trav, the oob to my Majin Buu, my Dende one going from the lookout to the cookout. When we used to do the Ether podcast with friends of the pod, Jordan and Hood, love you guys. We used to do it in Jordan's studio, and he would have like because we would record it off of like he does music, so like off his Pro Tools and shit and everything. So like as we have Riverside, which is catered towards podcasting, doing it in like Pro Tools, that's catered towards like making music. So like anytime we like, because we didn't believe in like the point of that podcast was like having like uncomfortable conversations and having non-PC conversations in a very PC way. That was our tagline. So it was just like when there would be times where it's just like, all right, let's listen to this back and see if we draw it a little bit too much, and like if we all were in agreement, like nah, keep it in, we would keep it in. Very rare we took shit out. But when Jordan's looking at the shit and he understands the music better than mine, it's just like a long ass sound bar.
Right, so like he's looking for the peak.
Yeah, so to like make sure that we knew where to go back and look, I would just clap and it would peak, and we were like, all right, there's the edit point.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well,
so it just stuck with me.
Valleys and shout
peaks and valleys, baby. Highs and lows, ups and downs.
Thank you, Hood, Jordan, and of course Troll Trav.
Yeah.
Our sister podcast, Dragon Ball for Life, your brother in crime, my
life.
My good friend. I guess this is a good time as any to introduce ourselves. This is always put in my notes here. I am Mikey, Darth Plagueis,
the human holocron,
the reinformed, the human
Darth Plagueis, the re-educated.
Re-educated, yeah. I'm coming back up.
Hey, every day you get a little bit, you get smarter every day, bro.
With my co-pilot here, the Rogue One, the Rogue Only, Matthew Porter, aka Matty Ice. I know you're checked in, buddy. Is the
Smack Talker Skywalker?
Yeah, that's what I was
AKA Mace Windu, dude, AKA Broby One Kenobi, AKA C3P Bro, AKA your main from the Great Hoodie Gang, fresh off his 9 to 5, literally about to hit hyperdrive. Punch it, Chewie.
Punch it. Does that, if you're a C3P Bro, does that make me R2D dude?
It does now. That does compute.
Before we dive into this thing, there's just so many like big life events that have been going on.
I was gonna say, I want to shout out to Siebes, bro.
Siebes, creator,
the OG,
a Star Wars podcast. Congratulations to Siebes and his lady Eileen. Just a fantastic.
Shout out to Eileen.
To see Troll Trav at the wedding. We had a great time. We danced. My quirk, Bad Dancer, came out in full force.
Bad Dancer.
And as we record this, it's a couple days before. We often talk about our sister in arms, Rey the Ruiner, who graciously joins us from time to time to provide a female perspective, and she's my better half. We will be celebrating 10 years together
Let's
on August
fucking
15th.
go.
A decade of love and memories with someone
Love
I
that.
forced to watch Star Wars, and now she loves it just as much as I do.
I love that. I love that.
But yeah, so lots of love in the air. Do you feel it, Matt? Can you feel it?
I do, bro. And we are blessed and or plagued by the W word here in the B4L Annie, are you okay family? So lots of love.
So much
lots
love.
of love.
Lots of love, lots of weddings.
The W word is wedding for anyone who wants to try to find a word to cancel us.
But we are
FYI.
here to talk about the Skeleton Crew trailer, which I feel like was very apropos. I'm so glad it dropped like right after we did that magazine article coverage because
because it lets you know how much shit we got right because we do this.
Yeah, we do this. We're in here. Matt is good at predicting, and I will say, I am very disappointed in one aspect of the trailer, but other than that, pretty hype.
Yeah.
Should we start there, Matt? There's something I really
let's
didn't like.
Yeah, please give it.
So
let's start there.
Let's go on to the negatives, and I guess this spoiler warning just in case right here. Just slide that in. I'm actually not in the minority. I think there's a decent amount of people who are not happy about this. I really did not like Star Wars Suburbia. It really does not work for me. And while it fits that whole Amblin motif, it was a little too real for me. Don't get me wrong, I'm all about realism in Star Wars and finding ways to, but it's always been like one step outside of I can picture this. I felt like I could walk on that street, and despite the Ithorian walking around the neighborhood, everything else looked too normal to me. And so that is my biggest gripe. Luckily, it seems like we're not going to stay on that planet for very long. So that was my biggest disappointment. But other than that, I'm pretty excited to talk about the rest.
I won't even yuck your yum because I had that same bodily reaction to the beaches in Rogue One. Just having beaches in Star Wars felt so fucking weird to me. Like I'm used to desert planets, swamp planets, space, Hoth. Bro, seeing palm trees. Matter of fact, it was these fucking trees behind me. This is the real. Matter of fact, it was this whole setting in Rogue One.
It was the Kame House in Rogue One. The battle is scary.
It was 1,000%, bro, and it threw me. It threw me that whole last scene. Even though I love it, the whole last scene, I was just like, bro, this looks like an all-inclusive resort in the Dominican Republic, dog. Like, this doesn't look like a galaxy far away.
It just happens to have AT-ACTs. That's all.
Bro, so I won't even be mad at you. I will say that it probably didn't register as me as something that I thought as out of place because the whole trailer reminded me of the episode in Vision season 2 where it was like the girl pilot and her mom, and they were in like that race. You remember that one? Mm-hmm. Where like their house was like their race car. Just everything that they went to leading up to the race, where they were like I guess pilots in training. I think that's what they were, and
something like
just
that.
Yeah, just them like going to class and like, you know, the students and the bullies and all that shit and the popular rich girl that was like, oh, I'm gonna win and get the scholarship and blah blah blah. Just that whole thing reminded me of this trailer. So it was just like, it felt familiar to me. So I was just like, oh hey, this looks like when that race episode in Visions 2. But I can see why you would be thrown off by that. Not gonna disagree with you.
Yeah, it's just I think it's always been space fantasy, and when you like add elements like that, I think that you have to be careful about. Yeah, when you add realism into your fantasy, you have to be careful about how you do it. I am usually fine with most of these choices and how they decide to inject it into Star Wars, but for some reason, just seeing like a neighborhood with like actual cults, it reminded me of the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 thing.
Bro, I literally was just about to ask you, did it give you the feels from Guardian of the Galaxy 3?
Yeah. It's like I get, you know, maybe it was cost cutting, maybe it's just like someone just had this like unique idea, and I really think that, like, you know, if it works for people, great. It just doesn't work for me. I'm gonna be honest about it, and I really truthfully believe that it is just a set piece before the kids go on their adventure. So I think there could be a deeper seated meaning behind it. So I agree
It is a set piece. I don't think like the cul-de-sac is like any big thing, but I feel like giving you that sense of home, that's the anchor for the kids wanting to get back. Because we've just seen nothing but nothing but orphans who have no home. So it's like the galaxy is the adventure. It's like I have nothing to go back to with Luke, with Rey, with Anakin. Literally, orphan adventurers has just been Star Wars motif. So it's like, I guess giving them a sense of like normalcy and routine and home is like, fuck. I like the adventure is getting back home now. It's not like getting away from your surroundings. So I think that's what that is. Like, it's just like give them a home to want to get back to.
I think that's fair from like a thematic standpoint. I totally understand it. I just think I ask myself, how would I feel about Mando and Grogu walking down the sidewalk of that street, and would they feel out of place?
Yeah, I feel
you know
you.
what I mean? How would a Rancor exist? It's like, I don't know. It becomes Jurassic Park at that point, which I guess isn't like a terrible thing, but like, you know, I don't know.
I'm rolling with
there's
you.
something about it that does not. I don't fuck with it.
it's the beach in Rogue One, dog. Like, I don't fuck with it.
All right. Well, now that I'm like over that tiny gripe, there's so much to, I think, love about this trailer, and like the Goonies vibes were strong. Very strong. Like,
so strong, and I loved every second of it.
Yeah, no, this is definitely going to be like a fun family adventure, and I know that you're here for your not safe for work takes. It's got to be. It's one of those things where I just like, you know, it does bring a smile to my face. How like I'm hoping that maybe even though older, disgruntled Darth Plagueis the Wise himself, Mikey, can't handle suburbia, maybe some kids are seeing themselves in these characters and they get excited to go outside and play Star Wars after watching.
Yeah, especially if they live in like a cul-de-sac that looks like what the neighborhood is. Like, what? Yeah, it's gonna be lit for those kids.
So it looks like, I guess the thing that the catalyst of their adventure, you know, outside of just looking for a Jedi temple, is the fact that it seems like the ship they like stumbled
takes off. I fucking loved that. Yeah, I was not just because I got it right, but I was just like, because the way how I had predicted it was like a ship was going to crash. The ship with Jude Law was going to crash, and like that's what I had thought. I love, because remember we kept saying like, how if they're literally, I was like, if they're starting at home, how's the show about them getting back home? I was so confused, and I was like, what's the thing that made them leave home to have to spend the series getting back? So when I saw like, oh, they get in the ship and accidentally send that bitch into hyperdrive, I fucking loved that. I was like, that's brilliant. That's like, that's excellent writing, like, because it's like it gets you away. We talk about all the time how the Skywalker saga, one of the things that I would say you dislike, I hate, how they make the galaxy seem so small. Like when people go on the run into a planet, they get found like within the same day. Like you could have landed anywhere on that planet, but you picked the right spot. So like having kids hit hyperdrive and like ending up in space and like not knowing how to get back, it makes the galaxy feel like a galaxy. So much and Ahsoka, bigger, yeah. Ahsoka did good with that too, with the Purgles and everything. You know, like, we got to figure out how to get to Peridia. But yeah, it actually makes it feel like, oh yeah, if you get lost out here, you might not get back home. Like you might be fucked. So I was like, I was so excited about that.
Yeah, and I know that the ship's a big, you know, part of it. Like obviously, the campiness around the name being Skeleton Crew has to come from them stumbling upon the ship, which quite literally is just filled with bones of people who were on it. We saw what looked like to be a pretty humanoid skeleton in like that like spider web. I hope that we get some aliens as well in there and get to see, like, we don't really get to see skeletal remains of some of these like Star Wars like aliens that we've, you know, been so accustomed to. It would be great to just kind of like see that sprinkled throughout the ship. So I'm really excited about that. And then just we did talk about this character in our coverage of the People magazine article, but I did not know at the time that Nick Frost's droid character is SM-33. His name is literally Smee.
Oh shit!
Like, as in like Captain Hook and Smee, like that's so good. Like I can't.
R.I.P. Bob Hoskins. I just watched Hook yesterday randomly. Actually, when not randomly because I love that movie, but That's awesome. I like that.
But there's a campiness to that there, where it's like that's a level of campiness I can 100% get on board with. It fits in with this like more targeted at children's show, and I really do think that there's like a lot to like about this, and it feeds into the vibes of the Amblin films, which I just really hope that they're able to kind of like stick the landing and hit the mark. Like it's definitely something the trailer has done a good job of presenting the show the way that they want it to be seen, but I'm wondering if like the show as a whole is actually going to carry you through. And I'm actually going to be leaning on you through that coverage, Matt, to tell me how you feel, because it's been a while since I've like watched any movie in that vein. Maybe I should go back and check out like E.T. or something.
I say all the time, my favorite genre and or movie trope is displaced group of ragtag kids trying to stick it to the man. It's literally my favorite genre of movies. So like Maze Runner, The Goonies, like shit like that is like I live for those types of movies. With dope, like those types of songs. Like I'm super excited for this show. I feel like Disney might have played a little bit of 3D chess with having a show where another thing we got right. We kept saying we don't get how you can make Jude Law the star and it not be creepy. It seems like he is kind of more of like a kind of like how Benicio del Toro was in Last Jedi. Right? It seems like he's it's like, can we trust him? Can we not? Yeah. But he's gonna like keep maybe he's like friends become enemies, enemies become friends. We're all richer for the journey. But dang, where was I going with that? Benicio del Toro, Jude Law, him being the star. What was I saying right before that?
Goofy and untrustworthy. I don't know.
Damn it. We were talking about kid tropes, Goonies. It'll come back to me. It's fine.
Well, while we're on the topic of it, I did have a note written down. It's just his only appearance in the trailer, which is kind of crazy because they keep saying that he's kind of the star of the show. It makes it seem as if his like character's a bit goofy, and he like
like when he took the hood off.
yeah. Like the way he leans into what the People magazine article described as using quick thinking, charm, and conversation to get out of confrontations. Like, could he be pulling some wool over the kids' eyes and like using magnets like Mjolnir?
Canal.
Yeah.
In Obi-Wan. Mm-hmm. That would be cool. That'd be a cool misdirect. I do definitely think I'm kind of leaning towards another Jedi survivor of Order 66 who like had to like get in bed with some unscrupulous characters to survive, and he's kind of like still crossing fingers for that Hondo. Like maybe this is the best. Always. So it's like I do kind of feel like it's going to be a contentious relationship between him and the kids, where it's like, oh, we can't. He like using them. I remember the point that I was going to make. I feel like Disney might be playing a bit of 3D chess against the Star Wars incels. Like, you're not going to bury a show starring children. I know they'll find a way, but I feel like they're not gonna like the expletives and like the vitriol might be a bit less not intense so, like for a show.
That's annoying.
1000%. But yeah, I feel like it might be one of those classic con man turned heart of gold, like a Negan without the bloody bat.
Yeah, sure.
Type of situation.
But let's see how he handles really himself in a fight, right?
I'm excited. I'm really excited for this show.
So we focused on Jude Law, obviously talked about the droid, but let's take a moment to just talk about the costume designs for the kids. Look great. They all like their personality is kind of like beaming through this, just the small like little bit of screen time they have in the trailer. Just really, you can kind of tell, the girl with the visor seems to be
the data girl.
Very analytical. The other girl seems to be kind of like, I call the shots around here type person. Like, she's got a little attitude already. The kid who's like looking for adventure is just just wants to like find purpose somewhere, and like that's like I think maybe a little more grown up for a character his age, but like at the same time, like that's also something that I think will help push the story forward. And then Neil, the Max Rebo looking kid, like just seems like he's blissfully ignorant.
Oh shit. Before I felt the nerd culture coming for me. Definitely called her the data girl. totally meant to say Geordie LaForge with the visor. Like before they like, oh, that's not Data doesn't wear a visor. Yeah, but when I saw the visor, yeah, the Geordie LaForge.
I don't live long and prosper. I burn bright and die young.
No, I'm with you. I'm not a Star Trek stan, but Star Trek Next Generation definitely holds a special place in my heart. I definitely used to watch that like after school quite often. But yes, nerddom, Geordie LaForge wore the visor, not Data. I'm well aware. My bad.
There's that great Family Guy cutaway where Stewie puts on the visor and he just sees everyone as members of the KKK, and he's like, "Why do you wear this?"
Classic. I'm trying to think of what other things we got right with this one. I feel like, yeah, like I said, outside of the how they got on the ship, I feel like we kind of nailed this show to a T of what we're expecting to get. I did like the little rat character that was shooting.
The Wolfman.
Yeah. It was a Wolfman. I thought it was a rat.
Yeah. Well, do you remember, like, I'm this deep cut, but there's one of them in the cantina, but then there's also in the 2003 Clone Wars cartoon, that same alien was the Jedi in the episode where General Grievous was like first introduced, like period.
Yes,
like
that's such a good cartoon.
It is. We should do a deep dive into that at some point.
I'm all the way down.
Yeah, hell yeah. But yeah, so it was a Wolfman, and we haven't seen one of those in a long time. So that's a deep cut. Love it.
Disney, baby.
Yeah, thanks for pulling that one out of your ass. A couple Jawas showed up. There was an interesting shot, and I wonder, like, if you noticed, but aesthetically, I thought it was pretty cool. The ship jumps into hyperspace, and it looks like rust is coming off of it.
Like, shit, really?
Like, as a cloud, so it must be like a really old or just straight up.
Yeah, I'm about to say if there's skeletons in there, then yeah, the decomp.
Yeah,
but the rigor mortis has set in.
It was a nice touch for sure, but those were like the main things that like stood out to me. It was a really short trailer, so lots of action beats. Definitely seems like there's more to it than just meets the eye.
1000%. They're definitely gonna hit us with 52 fake out the Kansas City Shuffle for anybody who's seen Lucky Number 11 as many times as I have. But I know, like, when we get these sizzle reels and teaser trailers, like the score is sometimes like 50-50 you're gonna get it. I hope the score for this trailer is like the official music for this show. It was really good. It was really good. I was super into it, so I hope that sticks around. I will say what you will, and not us, because we appreciate all Star Wars content, because like we were starved for it for many years, and now we have it overload a sensation nation. They be sticking the landing with these theme songs, like the outros and the intros for these like extended shows, like, you know, like Book of Boba Fett. Ludwig putting in work. I don't know if he has anything to do with this one, but they're really good. Like I enjoy all of them. Like I probably have like all of them on my phone.
Well, they brought back the GOAT to do Obi-Wan's theme. You say what you want about that show. That show is a killer.
I love that show. Like, I don't know why people would give negative.
There are. I can see some of the criticisms. A lot of people feel like it should have been a movie. I could see that. But at the same time, there's a lot of things I do love about it.
Yeah, the only thing that I would put as a critique, but as shout outs to Yali, all caps, our favorite space lesbian, as she always points out, like, age don't mean shit in Star Wars. So like the only thing is just like to go from Ewan McGregor to Alec Guinness in what's supposed to be like 10 years, like from the end of the show to the start of New Hope. My man's skin routine was trash. If that's the case.
Maybe he. Listen, a lot of people would love to see Kenobi season 2. Maybe whatever his training is just ages him tremendously.
Ooh, you know what? I'm making new lore that we're going to manifest in the canon. Okay. If we're going off of Last Jedi logic, Luke had shut himself off for the Force for so long. When he finally had to use a big burst, it killed him. So maybe like Obi-Wan having to use all that Force energy to beat Vader zapped his life energy. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm going with.
Headcanon.
Or the training. Or the training with Qui-Gon to conquer death. Maybe that takes, if you're gonna conquer death, maybe you got to give up some life. Got to give up some life.
What is life if you exist endless in the vacuum of space?
The greatest quote that I ever heard in my many debaucherous adventures out in planet Earth is, "What is life if you can't eat cold pizza drunk?"
That's a good one.
That's the greatest quote I've ever heard. Words to live by. I'm gonna put that up over my kitchen.
That's my. It's a good pizza quote, but it's only my second favorite pizza quote.
Oh well, we all know the GOAT beats the pizza quote of all time, or the turtle. Technically, the turtle. Because wise men say that forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza.
Don't do it.
Never do it.
All right. Well, another Star Wars show got a trailer at D23, and they released this one to the public. And it happens to coincide with a return to one of our favorite segments here on Any Area. Okay, it's time for Ask Me Anything,
aka the Jeremy segment.
No, Jeremy's the only one who ever sends questions in, and I'm just encouraging more people to send questions in because we will answer literally anything. Matt and I have no filter, and therefore we can answer things that are.
You know what, Michael? We're gonna look back on these fine days when we have an inbox full of Ask Me Anythings, and we have to vet the best ones, and we're gonna have to hurt some feelings because we can't get to them all. We're gonna look back at these days where we were starving for questions, like, dang, it was so much easier when we only have one question to pick from.
Except we will always jump Jeremy to the top of the list.
Oh, if Jeremy's in there, he's getting picked.
You know what? We're actually going to Ask Me Anything, sponsored by Fran's Fund. It's actually a link in the description of every video where you can go and donate money to help families who are underprivileged support their pets through pet care. It's a great foundation that Jeremy happens to be one of the founders of. They help underprivileged pets get the care that they need. You can donate there. But Jeremy came into my inbox this morning and he asked me, Matt,
Jeremy, you are a married man.
He is.
Think of the kids. Reconsider.
His wife's Ray the Ruiner's boss. It's crazy. Anyway,
slippery slopes. Dang, y'all playing a dangerous game out here, boys.
Jeremy asks the poignant question, dude, who is Jedi Bob? Oh boy. Can I not wait to talk about Jedi Bob?
Yeah,
man.
No.
So
I found that trailer by accident right before we hit record. A little fun fact for all our listeners, and boy, am I excited!
I'm excited too. So it's no secret here. I've talked about it before. I happen to love the Lego Star Wars animated shows. They're much, it's a nice little breakaway from what we know as Star Wars canon, and it's like canon adjacent. Happens to exist in this Lego-fied world, and this galaxy, Rebuild the Galaxy, right, is what the new show is called. And it happens to bring in Jedi Bob, which raised Jeremy's eyebrows, and he's like, who is Jedi Bob? Well, I will tell you the actual history of Jedi Bob, and then how I think it's going to factor into Rebuild the Galaxy. But way back when, going in the time capsule here, 22 years ago, in the year 2002, when Attack of the Clones was coming out, and Lego Star Wars was in its third year of production. That's right. Lego Star Wars has been around for 25 years. Crazy.
Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga game, is amazing.
It is really good. We can do a whole episode on that too at some point.
Yeah,
but in 2002, when they're making the Attack of the Clones sets, I don't think Lego quite had their alien minifigure mold type stuff figured out yet, and there were a lot of Jedi at the battle in the Colosseum. So in the Republic gunship set, they decided to include a random Jedi who had different torso parts and everything, and that random Jedi happened to be Jedi Bob. And if you remember the early stages of the internet at that point, for some reason Bob was just the most popular thing to call something that didn't have a name. So in the Lego fandom, Jedi Bob stuck, and that has stuck around so hard that when they decided to make this Rebuild the Galaxy show, and they're including Jedi Bob from a different galaxy or universe, essentially Star Wars vehicle for a what-if storytelling, they decided to include Jedi Bob, and Jedi Bob is voiced by Bob Moynihan from SNL. So lots of fun things going on there with Jedi Bob, but that's the whole backstory on who is Jedi Bob. So Jeremy, I hope you enjoyed that answer to the question, and I also hope you tune in and check out Rebuild the Galaxy, because it seems like it's going to be a good time. Yeah,
the cast is crazy.
The fact that they pulled Mark Hamill back into the
to play Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know what's so funny? Like, Mark Hamill is like such a legend, but I feel like he does everything. Like, literally, if people ask him to do shit, I feel like he does everything. But he has like such this mystique about him. We always are so surprised when he does shit, but he literally does everything. Like, my man did Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back. Like, he does like, it's big. Like, if you ask Mark Hamill to do some shit, you're highly likely gonna get him to do some shit, because he does it for the fans. But it's like he's like just so above what we would like look at like a normal actor, that it's always just like, what? You got Mark Hamill?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, he was literally the voice of Skips on regular show for all 7 of its seasons. So
dog, that's what I'm saying. Like, he does everything. Like, he's just down.
He said he retired from playing the Joker and has played him like 4
mad more times after that. Yeah, he said he retired. He said he retired after the first Arkham Asylum. Said that was it for him. And then he did 2 more. He just kept going.
I think he was just in the Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 3 as well.
I believe it. I believe it wholeheartedly.
And he also did the Killing Joke.
Yep. Shocker. Yeah. And then that was supposed to be his swan song too. That was like a retirement, a fake retirement from the Joker as well. That kind of leads to the point. He's just always down. He's just always here. But yeah,
we love it.
But yeah, we always have the same reaction. Like, what? Mark is doing it?
In addition to Mark Hamill, Gatton Matarazano from
Stranger Things.
Tony I want to say Ravioli. I know it's not Ravioli.
Yo, me too. I don't know how to say his last name either.
The guy who plays Flash in Spider-Man Homecoming and those movies.
Yes.
He's playing Gatton Matarazano's brother. I'm blanking on a couple more. Ahmed Best is playing Dark Jar Jar.
Yeah, Marseille Martin's in it. She's doing a lot of stuff from Grownish. Well, not Grownish. She was in Blackish. Blackish was Grownish was the spinoff. Yeah, but she's in there.
There's also
Best. Yeah, our guy.
So lots of fun things going there. I don't know if we'll cover it here. It doesn't really seem like there's a ton of appetite for it, but
we still gotta do Jedi Temple Challenge. Speaking of Ahmed Best
Challenge and Tales of the Empire. So
with Rachel.
Yes.
We got shit on the docket. And then Rings of Power. We got so many things, right?
Whoa there, hold on.
I know. I'm sorry. I know.
We can't tease things we're not 100% sure of yet.
True. I mean, that's kind of the point of a tease. The Jon Snow show on HBO. Like, we're never getting it. They teased it.
Well, that has been
Henry Cavill returning as Superman. never seeing it again.
We'll never get it.
Never getting it.
Cavalrine, though. I think the statute of limitations is out now. I can talk about that one.
Big facts.
Well,
and they don't know what the fuck you're talking about if they didn't see it.
True. That was, you're right. It was cryptic enough. They have no idea.
We mentioned nothing.
This bite-sized episode of And Are You Okay has come to its close. We have lots more Star Wars to talk with you in the weeks to come. However, we're not putting an episode out next week because I'm going on vacation. So you're gonna have to.
You deserve it.
You're gonna have to deal with the fact that this one was a little late and that you're not getting one next week. But we'll be back to talk all things Star Wars. And in the meantime, I implore you to go check out our sister podcast, Dragon Ball for Life. On the Dragon Ball for Life podcast, you can find Matt and our good friend Troll Trav, who are covering all things anime, mostly Dragon Ball focused, and the latest round of things has them covering the DBZ movies, but we're also mixing in some Dragon Calls as we go along. So if you're a fan of that, head over there. We also have been talking about it for a while, but it's pretty close to being official. A combination of the two, And Are You Okay and Dragon Ball for Life, called
Avengers Assemble.
Annie Minute now, where we can find
Avengers and Avengers Assemble
of And Are You Okay, and the anime of Dragon Ball for Life to bring you nerd coverage in something that's not Star Wars or anime related, because we can't keep our mouths shut. So what's one more podcast, man?
Because Mikey, one might say that it's not always about anime, or it's not always about Anakin, but rather anything and everything.
It sure is. Well, the last thing I have to plug here is you can follow us at the And Are You Okay Podcast socials, which is the letters ANI, Are You Okay Pod on Instagram and Twitter. And I already did the DB4L stuff. You can find that DB4L pod. But yeah, Matt, why don't you go rhyme some more and close this bad boy out for us?
I got you, brother. Well, Animaniacs, it's like we always say here in a galaxy not so far away. It could be skeleton. It could be beef Wellington.
It could be Anthony Melton.
Oh, it could be, man, you sing real good. Sounds like you was belting. Or it could be Ray. Life can be a beach, but you guessed it. As long as there's no sand, and he gonna be okay.
Be okay. May the force be with you, Matt.
And with you, later, nerds.
Deuces.
And we out.